Aussie.
And here we are, live on a Thursday night, almost Friday. I think we get more restrictions eased tomorrow, think. So, it's pretty much time for a party, I think. And Megalich, hello to you, sir. Showing off my new shirt. It's got martini glasses on it. Probably showed that off a few times during the stream. Yes. Hello. Now, I also have a drink because I was shooting some video for my cocktail channel just before going live. And I got a drink out of that. So, hurrah! Oof. Hey, Justin. Ooh. This is a Navy strength old fashioned. Not mucking around, essentially. Maybe I should have it with soda. Yeah. Luke, you got storms and big hail. We got quite a bit of rain here. No hail. I think you had to be in the country or outer suburbs to get the hail. But yes, a decent amount of rain came through from about 5:30 onwards here. It's quiet now. But yes, there was indeed quite a bit of rain. And yes, Justin, the LNP's proposed voter ID laws, several different kinds of bullshit, like pretty much everything the LNP does, quite honestly. And hello, Salumi. Nice to see you. Yeah, it's just like they just borrow dumb shit from the American Republican Party. And the American Republicans, correctly, I think, are working under the assumption that they can intimidate people who have every legal right to vote, but are less likely to vote for them. And the LNP is just stealing shit from their playbook. Yes. Hello, Safa. Talking about the voter ID laws. Yeah, it remains to be seen if they will get through, because, of course, any proposal would need support of crossbenchers, and who knows what they think. I mean, I guess we're going to find out in the coming weeks what they think. But yes, there is virtually no voter fraud in Australia. Anyone who says otherwise is a freaking liar. And so, yes, the LNP has reasons apart from fairness driving what they're doing. You can choose for yourself exactly what brand of unfairness they're going for, but it's not about being reasonable anyway. So if you're worried about Melbourne people coming to the bush, yeah, well, it's you can't avoid it, basically. You can't avoid, as time goes forward from here, there's going to be more and more travel and circulation of people from areas with higher rates of infection going to areas with lower rates of infection. It's just what you got to get used to now. Justin, that's a fair description of the LNP's goals. Have ID laws abolish compulsory voting because they are generally of the opinion that works against them. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but they are generally of the opinion that works against them. Abolish the AEC. Yeah, well, I think someone has to supervise the elections. Gerrymandering exists to a degree, not to the just insane and criminal degree it exists in the US. Like, it's absolutely friggin' mind-blowing how blatant it is in the US. But yes, the LNP are not to be trusted. Safa, I get the moral quandary about getting a third shot when so many people, the overwhelming majority of people in poorer countries, can't get a vaccine. Big question is, would the vaccine you're going to take have ended up somewhere else anyway? Short answer is not really, but governments around the world should be doing much more to get vaccines to poorer countries in a totally self-interested way. If the pandemic is left to run riot anywhere in the world, the risk of variants rises sharply, and the risk of those variants being resistant to existing vaccines also goes up. So it's in everyone's interest to get as much vaccine out as possible. Yes, Safa. Scummo thinks people should use their real name on social media, but millionaires giving secret payments to politicians shouldn't give their real names. I mean, it's really hard to exaggerate how blatant the corruption and self-serving bullshit going on with the LNP is. It's extreme, is what it is. It's extreme bullshit, and just lies and shit. Sorry, I'm just getting my phone out of my pocket in case AIDSy calls or texts, so I can see it easily. Well, Justin, the LNP certainly do seem to be heavily influenced by the US Republicans. And I mean, particularly seeing the sort of just deranged bullshit that's creeping into the mainstream of Republican politics in the US is just friggin' mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing. And I absolutely think the LNP is seeing that and going, hey, my God, look, they actually get success from being incredibly irresponsible, unhinged, and deranged people. We should do more of that. Savo, what do I think about 1 hour per night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night for gaming in China? I don't know anything about... Oh, are you talking... Okay, sorry, I thought you were talking about casinos. Are you talking about they were doing restrictions on online gaming for the youth? If that's what you're talking about, it's ridiculous and bullshit and difficult to enforce. And to me, it's asking for unnecessary trouble. It's asking for insurrection from the young people. Why you would create motivation for someone to be disobedient when it didn't already exist is beyond me. They're just inciting unrest in the younger generation. Seems like a really stupid move to me. That's how I see it. It's the dumb thing to do. But what do I know? I'm not a despot ruling over a couple billion people. What do I know about keeping a couple billion people in line? Justin, I think this gaming ban or harsh limit actually does to me feel a bit like the Chinese government, the regime is eating their own bullshit and enjoying the taste. Because just on the surface, to me, it looks like a really stupid thing to do to motivate a very large group of people to rebel against the authorities. Just seems stupid to me. Hellion, hello, Kirsten. How are you this evening? You probably got the same email as me, Kirsten, today. Or maybe not, because you said you bought the latest Starwood limited edition. I got another one saying, go on, you want to buy it, don't you? You wanted the last chance for an advance order. And I'm being strong and saying, no, I'm not spending $150 on that. Even though I suspect it's going to be a really good whiskey. I thought, I've probably spent enough money on Starwood limited editions, and I should spend the money on something from somewhere else. Oh, so many launches! Kirsten, I was looking on the Archie Rose website today. There's a honey liqueur coming out. That sounds interesting. Justin's China experts are saying there are moves against Xi. Would not be surprising, but that sort of thing is fraught with danger. So who knows? Safi, you got your Dan's card in the mail. It's funny. Like I avoided getting a Dan's card for ages because that's it. You're full blown alcoholic if you've got a Dan Murphy's frequent buyers card. But then I just saw how many specials were for members only. And I'm like, you know what? I'm getting one of them cards. And I got one of them cards. So Kirsten, that's what said. Yes, they seem to be naming it after eau de vie. No sugar. That, the honey spirit, looks really good. Suleiman, you got the heavy rain in Adelaide? Yeah, I think the heavy rain there in Adelaide really hit the sort of country areas of Victoria as well, and some rain came through Melbourne, but it's stopped now. And yes, oh my god, the hail! I saw some video on social media of it's a country town. I can't remember where it was, but their main street was flooding. It was like flash flooding just from the deluge of rain, and huge piles of hail from huge piles of hail coming down. So in my neighborhood, no hail, a decent amount of rain between about 5:30 and 7. Not a deluge, but a decent amount of rain between 5:30 and 7. And it's quiet right now. And yes, hail this spring in so many different places. Really quite severe and sudden hailstorms. It's pretty wild. Yes, climate change. More extreme weather of all types, more of the time. Justin, you think China will eventually get its own Gorbachev? Someone who's cool with getting rid of the whole communist thing? Someone who's more into openness? I mean, there's no getting around it. The Chinese regime is totalitarian, and I think that shit has a limited lifespan, quite honestly. We'll see how long it lasts in China. But yes, Abigail slept all day and missed the rain. Well, that's not the worst thing in the world. Is it cold tonight, Saf? Well, it's cooling down. We had mid to high 20s today and yesterday. It's going to be much cooler tomorrow, I think. Let's look at the Bureau's app. Yep. Big old friggin'. Oh, yeah. Huge storm clouds all the way from Adelaide to Melbourne and now across Tasmania as well. Severe weather warnings all over the place. Tomorrow, yeah, it's going to be 18 and then 17 on Saturday. So that a maximum almost 10 degrees lower than today and yesterday. Ah, Kirsten, so you had the honey spirit for the first time today. Unique. Made entirely of fermented honey mead. So it's fermented honey mead that then has been distilled. Ooh. Okay. That's going on the list. See, that's why I can't get the new Starwood whiskey, because there's going to be other things I want. And I can't get everything. I mean, I can, but I'm choosing not to. And I've got like 6 Starwood whiskies over there already. So, just in Canberra, there's still hail damage cars from a hailstorm the start of last year. Yeah, there was one. I'm trying to remember if it was Dubbo or Sydney, but somewhere where I was living. This is a while ago, so I'm not completely clear it was, where a really savage hailstorm came through really suddenly, and there was really brutal winds with it. You know those winds you get when the rain's horizontal? It was one of those. And this one, the hail was horizontal. And what was hilarious is you get all these cars with hail damage, but only on one side, because the hail wasn't coming down. The hail was coming in horizontally. So it's just smashing into the side of these cars and doing a really significant amount of hail damage. But then the other side of the car was untouched by the hail. It's pretty weird. Because to answer the surface question, you should have a discount card at work. When I worked at National Foods, who make milk products, dairy products, yogurt and whatnot, they actually had a tasting program. There was a lab in the building where they were experimenting with flavors. You could volunteer to be part of the testing team, and you would get showing your spirit and tasting mysterious, possibly not good flavors. You could get, some kudos at work, and you would get a frequent taster card. There was a bonus if you attended 5 different tasting sessions. Thank you again for the reminder, Kirsten. If you're buying from Archie Rose, use Archie 10 off at the register to get 10 off. Celtic King, I like the shirt. This is another of the new shirts. A bunch of martinis. Sort of midnight blue. It's actually probably more purple than it looks on screen. But yes, this is one of the new shirts that I quite like. A new one arrived today, actually. I wash them before I wear them, because there's often stuff like formaldehyde or other preservatives used in warehouses. These ones haven't really smelled like formaldehyde. That, I don't know if anyone remembers the really gothy vest I got with the brocade and whatnot. That fucking stank of formaldehyde when I got it. It was intolerable. It was so bad. So I had to wash it and then hang it out and let it air out for days. But these shirts I just wash as a precaution, because who the fuck knows what's on them. So the first 4, which arrived last week, I've washed. This is the second one I'm wearing. One arrived yesterday. So I haven't washed it yet. I'll do some laundry on the weekend. There you go. Exciting news. What does Angry do with his time? Well, I'm planning to do some laundry. Yep, that's how exciting my life is. But that's only half the shirts. I literally ordered 10 shirts. Celtic, no plan at this point to get another kilt. Do you plan to wear the kilt this summer? The plain black utility kilt is way too big now because I lost weight, but I can wear a belt with it and that holds it in place. And the new one I got, the hybrid kilt, which is sort of half utility kilt, but in the pleats is tartan, which I think is actually really quite cool. I got that several sizes smaller, and it's actually a little bit too small, but the same deal. I can wear a belt and hold it up just for a different reason. I'm going to wear the kilt more in summer. So, Silly, you feel that you have some sewing projects you want to do after major uni assignment. So you need to wash fabrics. Yeah. You just no, sort of never know what they use in the factories and whatnot. Even the dyes might be a bit fucking dodgy. So I always wash clothes before I wear them. Like I said, some it seems more important than others. Oh god, okay, you just reminded me of a very weird story from my past, Salumi. I'm going to share it. Okay, Angry's misspent youth, living in a shared house in inner Sydney. This was inner Sydney. This is Chippendale, Redfern, one suburb out of the Sydney. I was like just down the road from Redfern Station, and in one of my shared houses, it was a big house. There was like 5 bedrooms, and there was one couple there, so it was like 6 people living in this house. We're all early 20s. And the couple, the girl in the couple, she was a New Zealander. She had actually danced with the New Zealand Ballet. And you may be shocked to learn this, but ballet dancers, female ballet dancers, are paranoid about their weight because the male dancers, who are freakishly strong, have to be able to lift the ballerinas way over their heads, and it's got to look effortless. So that's the skinnier the ballerina is, the easier it is for the male dancers to lift them up. So the female dancers are always super fucking paranoid about their weight. So they all have anorexia, basically. They all have eating disorders. And even though she'd been out of the ballet for a little while, she definitely had latent eating disorders. And her boyfriend at the time, the other guy in the house, she's like trying to, I can't eat. And he said, oh, you know what you should do? You should do speed. It's an appetite suppressant. And it is. And it's also a sleep suppressant. And as every study of sleep deprivation has shown, no matter what the cause of the sleep deprivation, after a certain amount of sleep deprivation, like 3 days at the most, you start to hallucinate. Your brain stops working properly. Now, if it's because of amphetamines, that's actually exacerbated. Anyway, this particular housemate did not sleep for at least a week. It was somewhere between a week and 2 weeks. She's on a speed bender. She has not slept, and she essentially has a psychotic break. Just goes deep into psychosis. The combination of the sleep dep and the amphetamine abuse. And she's screaming. She would try and have conversations, but she couldn't talk for very long without starting to scream. She was doing it in the house, and she was calling people up and screaming, including her family back in New Zealand, calling them up and screaming at them down the phone. Why did you remind me of this, Sulimi? Fabric. She had this hobby where she wanted to be a dressmaker. And unbeknownst to me, because I don't go in other people's bedrooms, unbeknownst to me, she'd been collecting huge amounts of fabric because she had this idea that she would eventually be making stuff. So the hyperfixation of the amphetamine abuse was enough to get her to hoard stuff, but didn't give her the right sort of focus to actually do anything. So anyway, she has this psychotic episode. She calls up her family and screams at them. That actually made her dad come over from New Zealand and essentially kidnap her and have her sectioned, which I'm quite convinced was in her best interests, actually. But anyway, so she's gone. And it was a little while sort of, and decided to check out her room. And I honestly expected it to be like some crazed junkie pad, like just filth and chaos and whatnot. And I went in there, and it was the most meticulously organized and clean room I had ever seen in a shared house. She had bolts and bolts of fabric just neatly folded in these storage things, and just everything was perfect. And that freaked me out more than if it had been like a stereotype filthy junkie hovel. It was just everything was absolutely clean and absolutely precisely organized, and it was freaky. It was just freaky. And that's because she wasn't sleeping. So when you're not sleeping, you have lots of time to organize things. And hello, Lemonheads, by the way. So yeah, you reminded me of that when you just said something about fabric. The way human brains work, eh? Yeah, but that was an adventure. That was an adventure. Shared houses, man. And in fact, that house degenerated somewhat in the subsequent, like she was gone and we pissed the boyfriend off and got different housemates in. That house degenerated somewhat over the next 6-12 months till it got to the point where I was literally the only one in the house not on smack. That was fun. And the other people were into it to varying degrees. And I mean, there was a few, like from full-on addict to using semi-regularly to using quite rarely, but everyone except me was using. So there you go. And yes, Salim, yes, menial tasks can be easy on speed. And yes, Kirsten, speed cleaning can mean more than one thing. Another shared house. This actually wasn't my house. It was a girlfriend's house. We weren't living together at this point. And yes, there was a once or twice a year thing. The spring cleaning definitely involved amphetamines to just have a day of mad, intense house cleaning, just like full on. Oh no, Salimi, you starved yourself the normal way for years without anyone noticing. Ooh. Suffer because you saw drug usage in Ukraine and no, it's not fun. No. And in cities or countries sometimes where there's endemic drug use, where you actually see a little bit of societal breakdown because of it. That's not good. That is really not good. Remember reading a thing, it was about the US. This was and things will be different now, but this was in the 90s. And it was meth, and someone's just saying sometimes when you're going through the more remote areas, you come into these towns and a vibe just starts. And it's like, this is a crank town, and just everything's amped up, everything's on edge, and you think shit could go sideways at any second. I need to get out of this town. It's very bad. These days, the big problem is painkiller abuse, opiates, which is a different drug problem, which is actually killing a lot more people. Project Redfoot, hello. Insomnia wins another round. So you're here to say, blah, blah, blah. Yes. This is when people in different latitudes join, and it's just like, have you been working a night shift, or are you just insomniac? So, Slim, the upside of eating disorders no one noticed. Being very honest about it with your partner, so if you're stretched or anxious, he checks your eating. Well, that's nice. That is very nice. Again, openness helps. Okay, I'm going to have a little bit of water. And I topped up my fridge cocktail. And I want to taste what the new version of it's like. So if the world was flat, would we still have time zones? So if the Earth was flat and the sun went around, you'd still have time zones because, there's different time when the sun appears over here to when it appears over here. I think. I'm sure someone's done the science behind that, actually. I'm sure someone's done the science of if theoretically Earth was the center of the solar system and it was flat, so two weird concepts that some people still share, and the sun rotated around the Earth. And obviously, flat earthers think we still have time zones. So I guess they're the experts. Flat earthers think a flat earth has time zones because they think we're on a flat earth and we clearly have time zones. And I think that would be the case. A flattened out earth would be big enough with the sun rotating around that you'd still have sunrise over here and then noon and then sunset over there. I think, I know the physics of it. And Project Redfoot, you're right. Time zones only became important when higher speed travel was possible, i.e., railroads. Because if you were just going horse pace or walking pace, what the fuck did it matter how precise your time was? And good evening, Greg. Oh, gosh. Silumi, hovering between size 12 and 16, people thought you weren't skinny enough for anyone to notice you weren't eating. Jesus. People, am I right? They're kind of shit. Yeah, people, honestly. Ugh. Use of palaver, just dealing with people, honestly. And if anyone's wondering, with my bandaged finger for the one that I fucking sliced on Friday night, it's looking much better. And it's a bit less sensitive to pressure. It's going to take another week or two to heal properly, though. I really fucking did a number. Like, yeah, I probably should have gone to hospital and got it stitched. But who wants to go to hospital with COVID people going there? Not me. Abigail, I think it depends what you mean by time zones. I get what you're saying about the passage of time, etc., being important for navigation and navigating with where the sun is and all that sort of thing. I think it depends how you're defining time zones, as in even on the sailing ship, people would not be traveling fast enough to understand. Like when I started here, it was 12 noon, and when I got to my destination it was still 12 noon. If you went high enough rail across Australia, you'd experience things like that. But yes, time was always a thing. Time was always a thing, but there wasn't anything moving fast enough between places for you to have to really closely measure it. Like people would say it was noon when the sun was directly overhead, and as we now know, that's different at different times of the year. But when it's noon where you are, of course, it's not noon somewhere that's a couple hundred miles away because it happened at different times. So I think there's a bit of semantics in there. Redfoot, ate one meal a day for 2 years. And he got compliments. That's it's like really good advice. Is you don't need to comment if someone's weight changes. Now, I've actually been talking about the fact that I'm working on losing weight. So that's a reasonable thing to ask me about because I've actually brought it up in conversation. But if someone hasn't brought it up to you, you don't need to comment on changes in their weight, even if you think you're being complimentary. I know, and again, in a lot of cases, if people say like, oh, you lost weight, you look great, or you put on a bit of weight, you were too skinny before, you look great. In a lot of cases, that will make people feel good. But there are a fuck ton of reasons someone could, for instance, lose weight, and reasons that are not good. Eating disorders is only one. Extreme depression is another. Extreme illness is another. Drug abuse is another. So uninvited comments about the change in someone's weight is not a good thing to do, because there's too much scope for something that you see as positive to actually be a quite negative thing in someone else's life. It's because you're trying to teach your mother other people's bodies don't require comment. Yes. If more people could take that on board, that would be good. All right. Being good and drunk water. Also, I wanted to cleanse my palate because I just made this drink up today. This is an infinity bottle. So it's going to taste a little different today compared to last time I tasted it. My favorite cocktail, the Woodson and Ford, and that is rum and apple brandy and sweet vermouth and Benedictine and a little bit of bitters. And I've been making this over the life of this infinity bottle. It's had at least 6 different rums in it, at least 4 different apple brandies, and at least 3 different vermouths, I think. So, yeah. Project Redfoot, 8th, 9th grade, people just thought you were getting normal. Jesus. Yeah, I mean, you never really know what's behind something. And there are lots of situations where it's very hard to say the right thing. So there are lots of situations where you probably shouldn't say anything. Oh, yeah. Oh, yep. Still my favorite cocktail. Oh, man. So you get the rum up front when you first sip it. And that's a good thing as far as I'm concerned. And then the fruit flavors come through as it goes down. So the apple and the really sort of fruity, grapey vermouth flavors. It's very good. Earthgrow, hello. Only time you brought up someone's weight was because concerned weight loss showing on a face, but approach from concern of mental health. Again, if you're close enough to raise it, and in fact, it's fraught no matter what, but approaching something with the concern of, are you okay, is in most cases going to be better than saying congratulations, because while a change in weight may well be for positive reasons, because of positive steps someone took, there are far too many things that could be real bad reasons. I mean, imagine congratulating someone on weight loss and they go, yeah, it's the cancer. And it's just like, Jesus. And yeah, so quite serious illness can be part of it. A reaction to trauma can be another one. So again, yeah, you are doing an uninvited comment on someone's change in weight. As I said, even if you think what you're saying is positive, can be very, very, very destructive. And yes, Earthgrow, like I said, in your case, it wasn't a good weight loss. And like I said, approaching something from the point of view of, is everything okay, is in the vast majority of cases going to be less destructive than just automatically saying, compliment, because we don't know what's going on in someone else's life. These glasses, while I like them, they're quite heavy, and those pieces have been irritating my nose. Don't even know if it's showing up as a thing there. That's why I keep taking them off. Then I occasionally put them on because the chat's a little bit blurry if I'm not wearing them. Oh, Christ, yes. Kirsten, another one. Harassing people about procreating. Why haven't you had a baby yet? It could be an illness, as you say. It might be because of cancer. One or both partners may have a fertility issue. They may not be in a financial state to do it, and pressuring them about kids is just adding more pressure. Yeah, don't fucking get into people's lives. Fuck's sake. So, so if I don't necessarily need new glasses, but I do need the sort of nose pads on this one adjusted, which I can finally do now because the optometrists will be open again, and I can do that. Haven't really been. I did get it adjusted months ago, and it helped. But in the last couple of months of lockdown, it's been annoying me again, and I haven't really been able to get someone to face it. Justin, yes, another reason someone might not procreate is they might be gay. Although one would hope people would ask it. Yeah, but who knows? Salumi, they might have. Yes, again, as you say, Salumi, someone might have been born intersex or have other issues, reproductive organs. There is basically, and sometimes it might just be, again, it might be emotional. Maybe, and there's 1,000 good reasons that someone may not feel like having kids is a good idea, and you putting pressure on them is fucked. And yes, Kirsten, the fridge ninja strikes. Yes, I think Fridge Ninja actually wanted some ice for their water. Oh man, I should have put a friggin' cherry in this. Class excuse to have a cherry. I could top my drink up and put a cherry because I like to soak a cherry in it. Salumi, you got a huge phobia around pregnancy. Be the best witchy wine aunt. Yeah, and go for it. Justin, yes, it is absolutely everyone's right to share or not share their sexuality as much as possible. I was just thinking in the context of boys, but no, it happens to single people too. It definitely happens to single people. When are you going to settle down and have kids? It's like, when are you going to get the fuck out of my face? Yeah, I mean, your sexuality is no one's business but your own and anyone you want to get involved with. Oh yeah, Kirsten, I could just imagine, being a couple who doesn't want kids and people just not listening to you. I'm going to get a cherry because I like Luxardo cherries. Oh, I'm just going to go the whole way, get one of my skewers. Now this will be fun because there's not that many left in this jar, and the less there are in the jar, the harder it is to get one just by spearing it because they move around a lot. When the jar is full, it's very easy to get one. Not that many left in here. This is mostly syrup. No. Actually, I'm not even sure how. I might get a spoon and I can feel there's a couple in there. Stab. Slippery little suckers. Does anyone remember that ad? Ooh, I thought I had one there. I did get one. Yay! It's like spear fishing. Yep. Put that in the drink. I was just about to give up and get a spoon, but I got one. Earthgrave, you're accosted once by gym membership sales dude. Your walking will improve. So I asked if it would fit my neuro so I could go back to cycling, walking, and martial arts training. Oh, his face, yeah. Oh, nice stuff. You had a cherry Mars bar today. There you go. Silly, you remember that slippery little sucker ad? But it could only avoid me for so long. And I'll just let it like soak in some of that boozy goodness so it tastes even better when I do eat it. No, Sulumi, it's too dark to watch the storm. That's a bit sad. Justin, people shouldn't assume just because you're gay you can't have kids. Oh, there's ways from adoption, surrogacy, sperm donors, all these things. This is a Project Red Fire. I know you want grandkids, Mum. Not bringing another one into the world on purpose. Yeah, that's fair. Ah, man, that's a good drink. Earthgrow, you want an extra dry martini with your? I don't have olives. I don't put olives in my martini. I do have some olive brine. I have a bottle that's just olive brine for making dirty martinis. Yes, I do like my freezer martini is dry. Depends what you mean by extra dry. Kirsten has them even drier than mine. I tend to do a ratio of about 5-1, 5 parts gin to 1 part vermouth. So, for instance, that'll be like 2.5 ounces of gin and 1/2 ounce of vermouth in a martini. So, what's that? That's 75 mils of gin and 15 mils of vermouth. And I use a dry vermouth. Whereas through experimentation, we worked out what Mrs. Angry likes is 50-50, and with a sweet vermouth, which I have seen some people call a gin and it. I think the it is for Italy, as in an Italian vermouth. But a gin and it is a 50-50 gin sweet vermouth. So, and oh wow, Kirsten, 5 mils vermouth. You are doing the fucking Winston Churchill thing of pour some cold gin into a glass and wave it in the general direction of Italy. Yeah, no, that's hardcore. Just the splash of vermouth, like not even a teaspoon of vermouth. Project Redfoot is an excellent point. Too many starving kids. We could feed the world. Taxing Amazon and Elon Musk and Apple and Google and various other shadowy figures that we don't even know. Yes, people often ask, what would I do if I had godlike powers and was in control of the world? I'd give people, like, the old Thanos snap thing. I'd give people a chance. I'd give them like one warning. And of the various warmongers and murderers and terrorists, some of them I wouldn't give a warning. They'd just be gone. But it'd just be like, stop that shit now, because if you do it again, you'll be gone. And I wouldn't necessarily kill the billionaires, but they wouldn't be billionaires because that's some criminal bullshit. I'd incarcerate. I'd put it on themselves. I'd incarcerate them and say, you do not get out until everybody, and I mean everybody in your supply chain, has a living wage. So yeah. Safra, I don't think I'd snap Scummo, but I'd probably give him a choice to leave politics or get snapped, because he's fucking garbage. He should have no authority whatsoever. Earth Cream, memorable restaurant order: 2 dozen oysters natural, 1 bottle of white, Enjoyed it, but nobody at the table was happy. Oh, why? That sounds fucking legit to me. Abigail, people have left pizza and cider at your place after your D&D game last night. Ugh, that's what I call a score. Finding left behind pizza and cider after you've had a day sleeping in. That's winning. That is actually straight up winning, Abigail. Good on you. Oh God, this is okay. The reason this popped into my head is thinking of Abigail. Abigail lives near a place I like called the Bitters Lab that has all these great cocktail accoutrements. I think they have speed pourers. I need to get some speed pourers, which, if you know what that is, that's those things they have in bars. It's like a little spout they put on bottles and then they pour into the jigger, the measuring thing. It makes it cleaner. It makes it easier to do a pour quickly without spilling it. But the reason I want a speed pourer is not for any of my bottles, but because I saw this thing online this week, aging a drink in a coconut. Like, so you get a fresh coconut and you drill a hole into it and like empty out the coconut water. And then you put your drink, whether it's just a spirit or it's a cocktail that might benefit from absorbing a bit of coconut flavor. You pour the drink into the coconut and seal it up and leave it for a week or so, and then put a speed pourer in the hole in the coconut and pour your coconut aged drink out. It sounds friggin' awesome, and I need to do it. I very much need to do it because some of my friends have got like little barrels where they've been barrel aging cocktails or something. And I was like, oh, dude, that looks so cool. I don't know where to get a barrel, though. Then I saw this thing of aging a drink in a coconut. I was like, I want that. Oh, I see that, Kirsten. When you were interviewing at various spirit brands, bought some bottles you wouldn't usually buy. Now you've got gin that you're not fussed by. Thanks to your input, I only have good gins. Oh, yeah, Greg. No, that aging in a freaking coconut. I have to do it. Abigail, I missed your first. Oh, sorry. No, I didn't mean sleep in. I understood why you slept. I remember that you had slept, all day. You said you missed the storm from sleeping all day. Yes, I know in your circumstance, that's not a garden variety sleep in. Particularly when you said you were DMing, I knew that would have been why you slept all day. Just thinking, how many gins do I actually have? Ice is apparently in big demand from Fridge Ninja tonight, which is an interesting turn of events.
If you're wondering, because I'm trying to cool my room down without using the air conditioner.
You can turn the air conditioner off.
I feel like I'm making like everybody else's room cold unnecessarily.
No, the other front room needs it too.
Well, I'm trying a little thing.
All right, you do an experiment. That's your call.
Some people say if you stick a thing of ice in front of a fan.
Yeah, the evaporative thing will actually blow a cooler breeze. That's true.
So that's my strategy at the moment. I'll
All right.
back.
All right, report back on how it goes. So Slimy has 3 gins. Okay, so now I'm actually going to count them. So I think there's 1 or 2 hiding under here. 1. There's only 1 still down there. So gins. 1, 2. Let's see. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so 9 gins and 2 slow gins. I tend to, on average, have about 10 gins and 10 whiskies on hand and 10 rums and 1 tequila. I'm not into tequila at all. I have a bottle of tequila to make tequila. And that's the funny thing. I like tequila drinks. That's the one thing I don't buy a lot of. So then we have Smoky Hemp Gin from Giniversity. Nice. Ambleside Mandarin Gin, which also sounds nice. And the Never Never Gin. Jesus Christ. Kirsten has 120 gins at last count. Oh my God. Yeah, I tend to have about 10. About 10 gins, 10 whiskies, 10 rums. About 50 modifiers. So brandies and liqueurs. I have about 50 brandies and liqueurs. 40 whiskies and 3 rums. See, that's where he's going. See, Kirsten only has 3 rums. I have about 10. Actually, I'll count those. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. What's that? Okay, I've actually got 15 rum or rum adjacent drinks. So I have more rums than I realized. I've got 15 rum or rum adjacent drinks. Kraken Rum twofold whiskey. Well, twofold whiskey is a fine whiskey to have on hand. If you're not a big whiskey drinker, that is an excellent whiskey to have on hand. Yes, I have described it to many people as an excellent entry-level whiskey. It is the cheapest of the Starward whiskies. It's really easy to drink. It's good. Ooh, Kirsten, you saw a Queensland rum called Capricorn Spiced at Liquorland. I'm trying not. Actually, I've got noticeably more rums than I thought, so I'm trying not to buy more rums. But every now and then, I see one on really good special, and I went, "Oh, I wasn't going to buy any more rum, but that's a really good special." Project Redfoot might pass out. You like the aged coconut idea? I'm definitely going to do it. I also like the idea of a coconut with a speed pourer spout on it. I just think that's funny. But yeah, I mean, like rum springs immediately to mind to age in the coconut, but whiskey would work. And a few people, that it was actual cocktails. They would make cocktails and then age them in the coconut, which just sounds friggin' awesome to me. So, I mean, I've even got 3 white rums at the moment, which is more white rums than I would normally have. Actually, 4 if you count the rum agricole. I've got the I've got 2 Australian ones, Jimmy and Bricks. I've got the rum agricole from Martinique, and I've got the what claims to be a white rum based on Batavia, Iraq, so which is an Indonesian rum. Safa, look, man, if I could express post you a cocktail, I would. But also the way Australia Post is, if I express posted you a cocktail, you wouldn't get it for 3 days. Yeah, there is a proportionally quite high COVID outbreak where SAFA is. For a relatively small population, there's a relatively high number of cases. There was a surge in cases in the area where I live in the last couple of days, which is not great. It's not great. You never know. It's like, yeah, okay. I'm double vaccinated, so depending, that gives me somewhere from 60 to 80% protection against even getting infected. If I'm unlucky enough to, because I'm hardly going out. go out to the supermarket every now and went and got burgers tonight. But then even if I get it, I'm like 90% protected from getting serious illness and 99% protected from dying. So pretty good. So if you're planning to leg it to your mum's town, dude, who knows, man? It's so hard. Burgers. I got a Betty's Burgers. There's a small chain. Not sure if it's in other cities, but I know it because there's a couple outlets in the CBD and there's some at like shopping malls, like oh god, what's the big one? I keep getting the name of it, and it's stupid big. But anyway, it's called Betty's Burgers. And it's a small chain, and they opened one not that far from where. Actually, further. Having done it tonight, I won't be doing it again because it's a bit of a pain in the ass. And there's probably 6 burger places that are at least as good, if not better, that are closer. So I probably won't be doing that again. I did it just for an experiment because it had opened not that long ago. Certainly not bad at all, but I won't be bothering to do that again. But I wanted to try it because it was relatively new. Probably just opened in this lockdown, actually. So I like to try new places when they open. So what about Collingwood Burger, best in the country? Well, best is a very subjective term because different people like different things. And I don't know what place in Collingwood that's supposed to be the best burger in the country. Actually, we're on the internet. Let's see what comes up. If I type best burger Collingwood, Green Burger, Huckster Burger, and Easy's. 10 best burgers in Collingwood. Okay, Broadsheet has one. Best takeaway burgers in Melbourne. See how many of these I know. Okay. Juanita Peaches. No idea what that is. The John Curtin Hotel on Lygon Street, Carlton. Okay. Leonardo's House of Love in South Yarra. I think I've heard of that, but I've never been there. Luli, Johnston Street, Abbotsford. Never heard of it. 300 grams, High Street, Northcote. That's in Aidsy's neighbourhood, and I don't know it at all. Easy's in Collingwood. That might be the one you were referring to, Safa. Melbourne's only burger joint in a train carriage on a rooftop. Owner Coffee in Brunswick. Andrew's Hamburgers, my place in Albert Park. I thought this place was shit Footscray. It's 8-bit. I don't have my glasses on, and 8-bit was a bit blurry, and it looked like it was called shit Footscray. I have actually had a burger at 8. I've had multiple burgers at 8-bit in Footscray because 2 years ago I was working in Footscray, and they're good. The Tuck Shop. That's actually relatively close to me. They are good. The Bee East, as in the beast. Oh, that's cute. They're in Brunswick East, and they call themselves the Bee East Burger. The Beast. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Never been there, never heard of it. Meat Patty in a shopping centre in Mentone. Never heard of it. Royal Stacks in the CBD. I've been to Royal Stacks. They're actually pretty good. Fat Jack's in Barclay Street, St Kilda. Never heard of it. Never been there. Fat Bob's. There's a few fat places. That's in Moorabbin. Never heard of it. Custom Burgers in Thornbury. Never heard of it. Parlour Diner. Chapel Street, Windsor. Never heard of it. Haven't been there. Royale Brothers. Church Street, Brighton. Never heard of it. Ziggy's, another one I know. Balaclava, where I used to live. I like Ziggy's. Truck Stop Deluxe in Werribee. I don't go to Werribee. Never heard of it. Danny's. That's old school. And Danny's is the second oldest burger shop in Melbourne. I used to go there with Aidsy when he lived in that area. Huckster Burger, which is another small chain in Collingwood. So I've actually been to a few of these. I've been to Huckster Burger, Danny's, Ziggy's. Was that 3? Royal Stacks 4. Tuck Shop 5. I thought there was another one. I've been to 5 of them. And they're all good. It's all relative though. So that's my little burger roundup. There you go. Ooh, Earthcrow, you make a good camel burger. Nice. Sarah and Greg says Andrews is good. 8-Bit's okay. Simpsons are awesome. Nice. And B East now have a shop in the CBD. Excellent. Jesus, Greg, I'm going to have to chew up. At some point, I'm going to have to go back in the CBD. Now we can do it. Need to catch up, man. Well, a pizza place not that far away from me, 48 Hours, won a global pizza competition. And it's actually run by Italians. It's hilarious eating there because they're all speaking Italian and all shouting at each other. You don't know what they're saying. They might just be saying, those people on table 12 fucking suck, don't they? But they won a global pizza competition. They against like Italian people in Italy. They're Italians. So yeah, that's my hot tip. 48-hour pizza place. There's 2 outlets, I think. They won a huge pizza competition. Okay, Safa. What you're talking about is Easy's. Oh my god, I love those cherries. Those cherries are so fucking good. Hey, Raiders. Good evening to you, sir. Here for another whole hour, yeah? Earthgrow made a steak sanger where the steaks were in place of bread. Just 2 palm-sized steaks with all the fillings in between. Oh, you're a madman. You're a madman. No, Safa, they don't cook a pizza for 48 hours, and I don't know what that's a reference to. I don't know if they let their pizza dough rise for 48 hours. Kirsten, you got a little pizza shop down the road. Okay, I'm going to see if I can find out. Oh yeah, Raiders. We've started. Safa raised. There was a place in Collingwood that won an award, and it was Easy's in Collingwood. Yeah, so we're talking about food places now. Look up this 48-hour pizza. See if I can find out why they call themselves 48H. Pizza and gnocchi bar. That's the other thing. They do handmade gnocchi as well. Their pasta is also very good. I haven't been there for a little while. If you want to eat a real pizza, make sure it's the dough. Okay. So if you want to eat a real pizza, make sure the dough has been leavened for at least 48 hours. For us, 48 hours is the minimum time required for dough to rise. Dough that's been leavened for 48 hours with natural yeast will make your pizza light, fragrant, and aromatic. There you go. That's why they're called 48 hours, because they let the pizza dough rise for 48 hours. There you go. Yeah, Raiders. Apparently, yes. Easy's is a train car on a rooftop. Safa, I think my personal opinion is Melbourne is much better for food than Sydney. I don't know. Sydney might have some high-end restaurants that can compete, but I don't give a shit about high-end. I'm talking about general stuff, and I think Melbourne's way better. I think Sydney's good. I think Sydney's very good. I just think Melbourne's better. Oh, so I've had just enough drinks to be merry. Good night, Silumi. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you get better sleep tonight. I bid you farewell and good night, and hope that you get some quality sleep. Oh yeah, Raiders, we are absolutely spoiled. It's just freaking amazing. Look, I'm just out in the suburbs and there's fucking 50 really good quality food outlets in a really short radius from my place. It's freaking amazing. Oh, nice. Earthgrow, you had a pizzeria as a child where they spun the pizza dough in front of you before laying it in the pan. Yeah, the theatrics of actually tossing pizza dough is a thing. I don't know of anywhere that does. 48 hours doesn't do that. The kitchen's out the back. But yeah, the theatrics of tossing pizza dough are a particular thing. Like, what's the Japanese style where they put it? Is that teppanyaki where they put on the show? Chopping stuff up and throwing it around and whatnot. Oh yeah, Safa, having grown up in the country, food options regularly fucking suck. I speared my little ice cube remainder on my cocktail pick. So it's like it's a Ned Flanders special. The best sort of popsicle plain. It's just frozen water. Oh yeah, Raiders, you missed that about living in Northcote. Northcote's got some pretty good food options there. Earthgrey saying food in Penrith's awesome. Miss a Cuban restaurant which lost during the pandemic. Oh, several of my favorite places did not survive COVID, which is sad. I mean, and I don't mean for myself, that's only mine. I'm like, oh, I can't go to my favorite place. No, the people were really cool, and it sucks that COVID was such a nasty financial hit. They couldn't maintain that, and which I'm sure in some cases for years or even decades, like they'd put their heart and soul into something and they just couldn't sustain it with the lockdowns, which fucking sucks. But yeah. Safa, why fresh food is more expensive in the bush is usually why everything's more expensive in the bush is economies of scale. If you're getting stuff to large populations, it's economically viable to move really large volumes, and so you save money in economies of scale. In country towns, they can't take such large amounts, so smaller amounts get delivered, so it's comparatively more expensive to get the food to country towns than it is to get it to the cities, which friggin' sucks, quite honestly. Really friggin' sucks. Earthgo, remember food out the tablelands as a child? Nothing but lots of fresh rabbit. Fair enough. Raiders, when you partied cafe culture in High Street on a lazy Sunday morning. Oh, everyone doing the recovery shit on a Sunday. Brunch through to lunch in party suburbs, nightclub suburbs, was always a thing. And for me, that was in my 20s when I was in Sydney. So yeah, and that's everywhere from sort of Darlinghurst, King's Cross, Oxford Street, maybe as far as Newtown, just recovery places on a Saturday to a lesser extent, but more so on a Sunday. Brunch for people who haven't slept yet was always pretty funny, quite honestly. It's like you get this god-awful crossover in the early mornings of people who are just waking up and people who haven't been to sleep yet, and they cross paths, and it's not great. It's not great, quite honestly. Not great for either party either, in my humble opinion. What's in here? Ooh, man, that's good. Just a drop of the old-fashioned I made earlier. And that's quite nice. It's a mix of Navy Strength rum and Navy Strength gin, which who would have thought that would work? But it does. Oh, yeah. No, you're right, Safa. Country towns are fucking dead on the weekends. Yeah. It's, having Spent the first, 21 years of my life in country towns. Ugh, I ain't going back to that. I'll tell you that for free. Just not my, and even the suburbs, even though, okay, to a lot of people, I'm in the suburbs now, like around Caulfield. But the far-flung suburbs, just not for me. I've become a bit of an urban dweller. Oh, wow. Oh, Christ. Jesus. Raiders, Sunday sessions at the Northcote Social Club. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Yeah, no, that's a thing. All right. I'm going to pour myself a little drink of this. I just had the urge. Ugh. It's my homemade sour apple liqueur. Not going to have a lot, just a little bit. It's like dessert because it's really sweet. There's just like a fuckload of sugar in there. That is, I mean, honestly, it's like diabetes in a bottle. So you'd think I'd be smart enough to not drink it, but I'm not. I'm not smart enough. Safa, the secret of living in the city. Jesus, it's hard these days because it's so fucking expensive to live in the city now. But it's different for different people. It doesn't suit everyone. Like in my family, I'm the only one living in a big city. I have a couple of siblings living in Brisbane. Brisbane's just a big country town. And I have a brother who lives in Canberra. And Canberra is a very sleepy town, unless it's not. AZ has stories of the seedy underside of Canberra. I don't know that my brother's in that. Abigail enjoying the June memes in June Club. I posit my question. Is Spice World a sequel to June or is it a prequel to June? I need to understand the continuity before I go and see the June movie. Is Spice World a sequel or a prequel? Because I need to understand the continuity correctly. Earthquake, you prefer the bush, but you're in the city out of necessity. Yeah, we've all got our own thing. Oh, Christ, yes, Safa, Adelaide's just a country town. Adelaide is definitely a country town. Yeah, Raiders, all the public servants in Canberra, like over 95% vaccinated. Fucking wild. Everyone in Canberra wants to get vaccinated. And mostly everyone in Sydney and Melbourne wants to get vaccinated. Yeah, we may well be 95% of the eligible population vaccinated in Sydney and Melbourne. We'll definitely pass 90%, but we may well get to 95%. Ah, man, that's good. Very apple-y. Surprisingly, for my apple liqueur, very apple-y, but very natural. Made it myself. Got the flavor from Granny Smith apples. Safa, June is a book that was written in the 60s or early 70s. Huge, epic sci-fi. It was very successful. So, yes, there are various games that spun off from June. David Lynch made a film in the 80s, which is very cheesy, has some very enjoyable moments in it, but is overall a glorious train wreck. And there's the new Denis Villeneuve movie that, from what I've seen, anyone who's not a fuckwit thinks is amazing. I'm going to look for the opportunity to see that in IMAX, I think. It might be possible to see that in IMAX in Melbourne in the next month or so. I'm going to keep an eye out for that. In fact, I'm going to fucking look while we're talking. Okay. What are they advertising in IMAX Melbourne? IMAX Melbourne. Okay, load the website. What are they going? IMAX is reopening. They're advertising Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, The Eternals. Is anything now showing? No Time to Die. Okay, so coming soon. What are they going to have at IMAX? I think it's coming attractions. Shang-Chi, Museum Alive. Well, fuck that. Dinosaurs, fuck that. The Suicide Squad opens on Sunday. That's probably fun. The Eternals, November 4 and 5. No Time to Die, November 11. If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power. Oh, that's Halsey. That's Halsey's film. 24th. Venom, Let There Be Carnage, November 25th. The Alpinist, June. There you go. December 2. There we go. December 2. They're doing it both in 2D and 3D. I honestly might go in 2D. Because 3D, I don't know, I don't really enjoy it. Robert Man Greg, the cinemas in Melbourne open after Friday, I think. So, Safa, don't bother watching the 80s film. It's fucking terrible. It's fucking terrible. Except I think if you watched the 80s version of Dune before watching the new one would blow you away even more because the 80s one was so fucking terrible. So December. So I think there's a very strong chance I'm going to go and see Dune in IMAX in early December. I'd rate that as quite a strong possibility. Because apparently it's a fucking spectacle. So the bigger screen you can see it on, the better. So yes, I'm thinking very strongly I might see Dune at IMAX. I saw all the recent run of Star Wars in IMAX. And yes, it was after before work. Yeah, because it was kind of normal when the Star Wars films came out. I went to see them in IMAX before going to work. I went to a very early morning session that finished at about 8 a.m. and then went on to work from there, which is a real weird headspace to be in. You watch a Star Wars movie on a huge fuck off screen the size of like a 3 or 4 story apartment building and then go to work. That's very weird. That is very weird. And I did it a few times. So who knows? Might do it again in December. Who knows what the workplace rules are going to be by December? Oh no, every time I've been to IMAX, it's been fucking great. Like when I said I went to Star Wars early in the morning, it was like on the first day of release. So the early sessions were all very crowded on the first day of release. So yeah, it's pretty trippy. But yes, so I'm thinking I'll probably see Dune in IMAX. Earthquake, I want to see next Batman at the cinema. I mean, that's what, next year? The next Batman film's coming out sometime in 2022. It's like every now and then I see something being advertised and they're saying it's coming out in 2022. And I go, well, that's forever away. So, we're almost in November 2021. It's like, oh my God, time means nothing. Time means nothing. Like the pandemic started both 5 minutes, 18 months, and 20 years ago. Time just doesn't fucking mean anything. Jesus. Safa, you've never been to a midnight release. I'm trying to think if I've gone to a very first screening. I've gone to early screenings on the first day. I don't know that I've been to the very first sort of midnight screening of something. I can't remember. I don't think so. I can't remember really though. But Yeah, you know, it is what it is. So, and the Bond's out now. I don't know. I don't mind Bond films. I like Daniel Craig as Bond. It's kind of what? How many has he made so far? It's like 4. Went from Casino Royale was fucking amazing to Quantum of Solace was shit. Right now, I'm going to look them up. What were the? Uh, okay. No Time to Die is the current one. Okay. Okay, so Daniel Craig's ones. Casino Royale, fucking amazing. Probably my favorite of all Bond films. Quantum of Solace was shit. Skyfall was good. Spectre was good. But the fact that Casino Royale was so good, the rest were all a letdown after Casino Royale. But Quantum of Solace was shit. Skyfall and Spectre were good, but they don't stack up next to Casino Royale. Casino Royale was amazing. It's his 5th. It's Daniel Craig's 5th Bond film. So yeah. And I'm not a fan of the old Bond films. They're just like cheesy as fuck. And I really question anyone who thinks the old Bond films were of any quality. But if you like cheesy schlock, then yeah, but they weren't good films. They just weren't. Shieldsy, mate! Got your first AstraZeneca last week. Nice. Oh, man. You felt like got run over by a truck. Yes, that's the thing. AstraZeneca, the first one can get you. Pfizer, the second one can get you, apparently. Yeah, I had one day of feeling kind of shit with AstraZeneca and sleeping that first night. Oh, chills and weakness. But then you have a day or so of feeling fucked. And I don't know about you, but it's just then getting a decent night's sleep. It's good. Abigail, you love the old Sean Connery ones. Again, I will watch the old Sean Connery ones, but they're fucking schlock. I'll suffer. The 90s Bonds film are terrible. 80s and 90s Bond films are the fucking worst. Crow, you don't see many films in the cinema. Spaceballs was good on the big screen and Beetlejuice. The Aussie Bond guy, George Lazenby, who made one Bond film and apparently was so difficult to work with, everyone was just like, oh, fuck no. No, not this guy. So Shieldsy, for you for 2.5 days, you were having 3-hour naps. Dude, you do what you got to do, man. It affects everyone differently. Yes, again, the reactions range from, well, most people honestly have no real reaction at all. And then there's a chunk of people who have quite mild reactions, which I'd put mine in. Shieldsy, you sound like you're a little bit more. And of course, there is literally 1 in a million people have died from complications, which is fucked. But considering the dying from COVID complications is about 1 in 50, 1 in a million is not a bad bet. Oh, your injection site was red for 4 or 5 days? I didn't really have a problem. If I poked it, it was sensitive for a couple of days. But if I didn't poke it, it was fine. Earth Crow, you're heading off? See ya. I've got about half an hour I'm going to hang around for. Yes, I agree, Saf. I haven't seen you for a while, Shinty. Nice to see you. I have a little bit of water, I think. A little bit of water. I'll resist the urge to drink any more alcohol. It's funny when you drink just enough alcohol to be happy, the temptation is to drink more. And if you're not careful, you cross that event horizon to a bad time. Think if I just stay where I am, lightly inebriated, be fine. I'll just drink some water. Kirsten, you got a light headache from Pfizer? Yeah, a co-worker complained she was dying. Some people, like, apparently, yeah, just as your body goes into overdrive, like, fuck me, I'm going to produce some antibodies. Some people, it's very much like having a very bad cold or a flu, and it can last for a couple of days. I was, like I said, I had chills when I was trying to sleep the first night. I was really weak. So it's kind of like I had a cold or flu, but it only lasted overnight. And then because I didn't sleep that well, I was bleh the next day. But then I got proper sleep that next night, and then I was fine. Shannon, hello. Yes, wow, it's the night to see people I haven't seen for a little while. First Shieldsy and now Grasshopper. Hello. I thank you, Kirsten, for putting in the good word to Shieldsy. I have been drinking water. Good call, Shieldsy. Drink water before your vaccine, just in case it dehydrates you. I think we got the official word on third shots now, don't we? It's like 6 months later, 6 months after your second shot, get a Pfizer. So I'm like 2 months past my second shot. So November, December, June. So some February, probably. February, I'll probably get text messages saying, hey, it's 6 months since you had a vaccine. You should book in. So I'll probably do that in February or March. Abigail, you're hearing more thunder. I haven't heard any for a little while. Okay. Grasshopper, work kicks your ass. Yeah, that's fine. You had a heart attack earlier. Brace yourself. Steve Price complimented Dan Andrews. Yeah, weird things happen from time to time. Oh, yes, just after saying third shots from 8th November, and Mrs. Angry, because she's a health worker, so her second shot was actually 6 months ago. So she just went on one of the sites and said, I wonder if I can book in. And she's gone, and she thought it wouldn't let her, and she's gone, when was your last shot? You go, appointment. She's getting her third shot on the 8th of November. So also our house is fully vaccinated now. My offspring got their second shot last week. Mrs. Angry's lad actually got his second shot slightly further back than that. And yes, apparently it's like 2 weeks till it's full efficacy, but our whole household is vaccinated now, which is nice. Young Mr. Angry said, because he tends to spend 2 weeks here, which will finish this weekend, and then he'll spend 2 weeks at his mum's place, and then he'll come back. And he's already said, hey, next time I'm back, can I have a few friends over for like a double vax party, only inviting people who are fully vaccinated? And I was like, yep, we won't have any restrictions by then. So by all means, because his friends seem like a real fucking solid bunch. So yeah, on a Friday live stream in about 3 weeks, probably 3 weeks. Yeah, I'd say a Friday or Saturday live stream in 3 weeks. It might get a bit wild because there could be a bunch of 20-somethings having a hang and low-key party like in the next room. And you've all been here. They've been here for some of the other streams and they come through. So yeah, probably Friday or Saturday night in 3 weeks might be a bit of a wild live stream with 20-somethings having a bit of a party. Shieldsy, you're first in family to get the shots. That's all right. Well, you have like no cases in Queensland, but you still should get them. That's good. Oh, nice, Kirsten. You and husband double vax. That's nice. Again, yeah, if you're in New South Wales or Victoria, you really, really, really fucking want to get double vax. But yeah, Shilty, okay, you got 5 to 7 weeks till your next shot. Again, just minimal to non-existent cases in Queensland. Like, you're fucking fine. It's like if you're in New South Wales or Victoria, you so want to be double vaxxed at the moment. So many fucking cases. But yeah. Abigail, you'll be due for a booster soon, so that's cool. And it'll be interesting to see what happens beyond that. If the consensus is an annual booster, or if this was just a 3-shot vaccine, and you'll be good after that. It's probably going to depend on mutations and variations, what happens 2022 and beyond. I wouldn't be surprised if the recommendation is to get a booster every 12 months or maybe even 6 months. I don't know. Oh, no. Okay. So, Kirsten, your mum cried with relief when you said you had your second jab, but husband's mum went on a QAnon rant. That's sad. I read a very interesting article recently from someone who's basically spent decades studying conspiracies and whatnot. And he reckons people are no worse now than they have been for decades. There's a few things now that bring them front and center. And he's basically saying people who got into QAnon and COVID conspiracies, the vast majority of them were probably already completely fucked in the head. This just gave them something to latch on to. And it was really funny because he's talking to the journalist who's interviewing him and said, look, not all conspiracies are equal, and you shouldn't be as equally worried about them. And he said, for instance, if you found yourself at a dinner party seated next to someone who thought there was a conspiracy about the JFK assassination, would you be particularly troubled? And the journo goes, oh no, that wouldn't bother me too much. But if you found yourself at a dinner party seated next to a Holocaust denier, would that upset you? And they went, fuck yeah, I would not sit next to a Holocaust denier. See, and he's saying, like, not all conspiracies are equal. But he was saying the people latching on to the extreme ones now, the QAnon and COVID conspiracies, they were probably always that fucked in the head. It's just given them something to latch onto. Safa, it's not rain outside. I did just hear a couple little bits of thunder, though. Just very, very gentle. There's some really sharp thunder, like between 5:30 and 7 when it was raining a lot. Kirsten. Well, that's a fair call. Not visiting a husband's parents if they're not double vaxxed. It's just, oof. It's so difficult. It's kind of like, as I've said multiple times, if someone wanted to say, like, oh, I have concerns about the vaccine, and they gave the impression they were willing to be rational about it, I would be more than willing to have a calm, rational discussion with someone and say, okay, what is it that troubles you? What is giving you pause? And acknowledge when they made points about, some stuff was badly communicated, and I would help them see stuff that's like, they are safe. They're as safe as most things. There was proper research, etc. And what we know beyond any doubt is the infinitesimal danger of complications from the vaccine is orders of magnitude lower than the risk of complications from COVID. And we know that for a fact because billions of vaccines have been administered globally, and we have millions of people dead from COVID. So we know how often COVID kills people. We have a very strong basis for understanding what percentage of people face medium to long-term health complications because of COVID. And we know quite well what percentage of people are going to have some adverse reaction to the vaccine and need medical support. And it just doesn't compare. It's like 1 in a million chance of dying because of complications from the vaccine to a 1 in 50 chance of dying from COVID. So fuck. Shields, yeah, I know you weren't putting out because you just didn't have the impetus in Queensland to get vaccinated, but it's good to get there. Oh, Philip's on Facebook. Hello, Philip. And yet, no, there is no good reason to hate the vaccines. Oh, Philip Wong. Okay, I'm going to say James Wakefield is the person who is responsible for mainstreaming vaccine conspiracies. James Wakefield was a scam artist. He was a medical doctor. He was a researcher, but we now know beyond any doubt James Wakefield deliberately faked his research into the combined MMR vaccine, causing autism. We know beyond any doubt he deliberately faked that research as part of a financial scam. He wasn't anti-vaccine in the start. He just said we shouldn't have a combined vaccine for measles, mumps, and rubella. They should be differently. And what we found out after the fact is he had taken out a patent on individual vaccines that he would have profited massively from if the MMR combined vaccine was abandoned. So what Wakefield did was commit premeditated fraud for his own financial gain. But what was interesting is he originally wasn't anti-vaccine, but he has, in the decades since, discovered he could make a lot of money pandering to the absolutely deranged anti-vaccine conspiracy nut jobs. And so that's what he does now. But Wakefield is a dangerous charlatan who is, it's reasonable to say, is personally directly responsible for thousands of deaths and hundreds of thousands of health issues. Oh, it's just started raining again here. You might even end up hearing it. And yes, Abigail, Andrew Wakefield's definitely not a doctor now. He's definitely lost his credentials because of his deliberate fraud. Oh, yes, Abigail, oh my God. Again, there's probably the shortest way to get a fairly good overview of what a charlatan Andrew Wakefield is a YouTube channel called H Bomber Guy, Harry, a Brit. He did really good. I think his video is like 40 minutes long. And for all the story, 40 minutes is a short period of time to get it. He did a very good, easy to understand explanation of why Andrew Wakefield is an incredibly dangerous criminal charlatan. And the whole mainstream anti-vax movement today is based on Andrew Wakefield's deliberate lies. It's probably the easiest way to get a lot of detail about that with the H Bomber Guy video. But yes, Abigail brought up, Wakefield harvested blood samples from kids as the kid's birthday party. That's, compared to everything else he did, that's kind of funny and fucked up. But literally everything about Wakefield is fucked up. At least that thing about harvesting blood samples from kids at a birthday party is, in a really dark, macabre way, funny. But yeah, no. Again, it bears stating Wakefield is personally, directly responsible for thousands of deaths because his lies fermented the modern anti-vaccine movement. There was an anti-vaccine movement before Wakefield, but it was absolutely fringe. Wakefield made it much more mainstream. So Wakefield's actions can reasonably be declared to be responsible for thousands of deaths and hundreds of thousands of unnecessary health complications. Speaking of the Thanos snap, Wakefield would be gone without hesitation. He gets no more chances. In fact, all the anti-vaxxers, they would just get a single communication beamed straight into their head. One more Facebook post and I'll do the snap and you will be gone. Okay? Simple as that, because that bullshit kills people. Philip, some of the COVID anti-vax arguments echo the Wakefield MMR stuff directly. Abigail, you think some people don't deserve death? What do you want, like a lifelong imprisonment? But something where they can't communicate to the outside world. In fact, I'd be willing to put all the vaxxers, anti-vaxxers, in their own little place, just with a great big concrete wall around them. Same as, honestly, the jihadis who said, like, oh, I want a caliphate. You know what? I'm going to wall off a section. And you're in there. And literally anyone who says, and because I have the Infinity Stone power of knowing everything, anyone who says, this is bullshit, I don't want to be here, they get out straight away. But everyone who wants that ridiculous caliphate bullshit is within these walls, and you'll all be fucking dead in a generation, because there's only a tiny number of people who benefit from that sort of brutal dictatorship. And literally every time someone goes, I don't want to be here, I'd spirit them out. So those fuckers would all be gone in 2 generations at most. Reminds me, there's a sci-fi stuff. As a writer I quite enjoy, his name's Cory Doctorow. He's the classic at doing speculative fiction that seems to be talking about the future, but it's really talking about our world, because he's extrapolating. He's going, okay, based on stuff that's happening now, where could that end up? So he's not really predicting a future. He's talking about the present. He's saying stuff we are allowing to happen now is bad for this reason. And one of his series has, has the geek rapture, the singularity. It's post-scarcity, because they work out like replicator technology. So no one has to work shitty jobs, because there are machines that make all your base requirements. And so you just do stuff you want to do. And it's this wonderful utopia. And then he picks apart the sorts of problems that utopia would have. But the bit in it that cracked me up is because you can regenerate your body. You sort of do backups of your consciousness into this mainframe. And if you die or get sick, you just generate a new body and download your backup into that. And so that's you now. And he cites out all the religious people when this technology was new, said that was evil. And it was like, I don't know, like your soul had gone to heaven or your soul's been trapped. But basically they were saying it was a sin and it was evil. And there was this whole argument on, are you the same person when your consciousness is uploaded to a computer, then downloaded into a new body? And is the soul the thing, blah, blah, blah. And all these fundamentalist Christians wanted to ban it. And he goes, anyway, that was solved when they all died. Like, just of old age. There was an argument that lasted for a couple of generations, but then all the people who refused to be uploaded died, and they were gone. So there was no more argument. I thought that was kind of funny. Okay, I think Wakefield should be in The Cube, not as a subject, but as one of the traps. He talks to people that enter his cube, anti-vaxxers them to death. Oh, geez, that's pretty dark. That is pretty dark. Safa, okay, here's the thing. I've seen those same news articles, Safa, saying a lot of people in the US are quitting jobs. Now, you might say 1% of a population is a small number. Like if 1% of the population was so disconnected from reality, they would quit their job rather than comply with a vaccine mandate. You go 1%, that's tiny. But 1% of the US population is 3 million people. See, when you're dealing with huge base numbers, percentages are big. It's kind of like, you find out that, 10% of Americans believe something just absolutely fucking insane. And you go, oh, 10%. And you go, oh, God, that's 30 million people. 30 million people actively believe something that's patently insane. And it's much smaller numbers here. All the people say, oh, I'm going to lose my job if I don't get vaccinated. Good. I want these fucking pieces of shit to pay a price, quite honestly. The anti-vaxxers are fucking scum. They are literally killing people, and there is no defense for their position. It's just indulging people who are living in fantasy, saying, oh, we've got to take them. No, the shit they are saying has no basis in reality. It's a complete fantasy, and the idea that we should cater to fucking idiots who are indulging in a complete fantasy that puts other people at risk of death. Fuck that noise. So yeah, it's a simple thing like US with its massive population. If a couple of percent of their population is so fucking deranged, they're going, oh, quit rather than get vaccinated. Couple of percent doesn't sound like much, but that's actually millions of people. But fuck them, I say, fuck them. And yes, there's stuff, as you're saying, 73 Vic cops got stood down for not jabbing. Again, in Australia, a cop who's anti-vaccine is 99% likely to also be far right ideologically. So Nazi cops getting stood down, fucking bonus. Everyone else getting vaccinated and is actually losing some absolute extremist cops, that's double fucking win as far as I'm concerned. I mean, just generally, I have nothing but contempt for the anti-vax crowd because they're just absolutely talking complete fucking shit. There's no gray area. They're just wrong. But yeah, no, when you're talking about cops and cops generally being predisposed to being right-wing, but a cop who's refusing a vaccine, again, you look at the discourse online, it is 99% likely that cop is in a far-right group online. So, hey, we're getting rid of some Nazi cops. That's an unexpected fucking benefit. So, Philip, what you're saying, a little bit like the Chinese thing about lying flat. You're going to have to explain that to me because I don't know it. A Venn diagram is a circle. Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ. Anti-vaxxers losing out if they don't get vaccinated. In other words, willfully endangering the lives of other vulnerable people. But yeah, I'm 100% serious, and I don't give a fucking shit anyone who says I'm talking hyperbole. A fucking cop, cops are notoriously right-wing and authoritarian. A cop who's refusing to get a vaccine to protect their job, as I said, I'm not even exaggerating, is 99% likely to be an active part of extreme far-right groups online. So, yay, Nazi cops go by. A small number of them anyway. So what's the chance of United Australia getting back in there? Chance of them winning anything? Nothing. Clive Palmer is a fucking grifter con man. Clive Palmer's whole thing was to siphon off votes of disenchanted Liberal Party voters and then just feed it straight back to the LNP and preferences. No one from Clive Palmer's fucking clown show came close to winning a seat, but all the votes that were from disenfranchised Liberal Party voters, National Party voters, because they're so fucking stupid, they don't realise they are just funneling votes straight back to the LNP. Will Craig Kelly get back in? No. Craig Kelly was only in Parliament because he was in the Liberal or National Party. I forget which one he's in. The fact that he's now doing Clive Palmer. Craig Kelly is a repulsive fucking toad. No one's voting for Craig Kelly. He's a fucking festering pile of pus. Now let's wait and see Angry get proved wrong at the next election. Again, predicting politics is a mug's game. But that's my prediction. Music David, remember the good old days when anti-vaxxers were hippies growing herbs at Byron Bay? When did anti-vaxxers become Nazis? In the last 10 years. And again, the hippie anti-vaxxers don't realize the degree to which they're being swallowed by Nazis at the moment. Yes, but the far right have really latched on in the last 10 years to, hey, sneak in people who are just feeling disenfranchised or angry about something and make them think you're on side and then gradually poison them with far-right ideology. And you have the Byron Bay hippies now in absolute lockstep with people who have swastika tattoos. Like, it's fucking freaky. And it's just because the far right are incredibly manipulative. You know, they've been working at it since fucking World War II. You know, they've just been working at it, and they were on the fringe for the longest time, and they've been picking up speed since the 70s as like a backlash to the counterculture. And then there was Reagan and Thatcher in the 80s. And the last 10 years, people who are avowedly fascist, openly praising Nazi ideology and even Adolf Hitler specifically, are getting a voice in the mainstream of right-wing politics. So for rich people aren't always right-wing. There are some very, very famous billionaires that right-wingers hate, like George Soros and who else? Actually, Amazon guy. Right-wingers hate him. Fucking Zuckerberg is different. Philip Wong, neolibs aren't neo-Nazis. Bezos, thanks, Philip. Neolibs aren't neo-Nazis. A lot of the Labour Party are neoliberals. But the social conservatives have been really working at it, particularly since the 60s. They were failing in fringe in the 60s and into the 70s, but they started to pick up steam in the 70s. They really got some power with Thatcher and Reagan in the 80s. But the last 10, like I said, it's been different. The last 10 years has been different. People who are avowedly and openly white supremacist, pro-fascist, pro-Nazi have been becoming increasingly influential in the mainstream of right-wing politics. Oh, you're getting lightning at your part of it. But I feel like I've got about a 10-minute delay on what you get, Abigail. So maybe I'm going to get lightning in 10 minutes. You were talking about thunder, and I wasn't getting any thunder. Then 10 or 15 minutes later, I got a bit of thunder and rain. Maybe I'm going to get lightning in 10 minutes when I go to bed, because it's bedtime. You know, I'm just going to look at the Bureau map again, the rain radar. Fuck me. Okay, I'm going to show. I don't know if it'll show up, but no, that's so much worse. Look at that. That's moving across Melbourne at the moment. So And if I take it out a bit, so you can see Adelaide and Tassie, you see there's nasty stuff over Adelaide, there's nasty stuff over Tassie, nasty stuff country South Australia and Victoria, and then nasty stuff over Melbourne. So, oof. Might be a noisy night. There might be lots of rain and thunder and shit overnight. Thunderbolt and lightning, very, very frightening. Yes. Anyway, it's 10 o'clock and the fucking stove started buzzing, which is almost like trying to tell me to go to bed. So I'm going to go to bed. Going to go to bed. Thank all you fine people for joining me. Tomorrow night, Friday night, party night. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with party night. And we'll take it from there. Maybe do an angry bunch, that type of thing. But I'm gonna go to bed now. So bid all you fine people farewell. Good night. Look after yourself. And yeah, if you're around tomorrow for party night, we'll do that. Probably be making some cocktail videos. Don't know if I'll wear one of my new cocktail shirts. I'll probably have a white shirt on to make videos. But maybe I'll change out of it and put a cocktail shirt on. Really fucking mix it up tomorrow. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? Anything could happen. Anything could happen. But it probably won't. Yeah, maybe getting pissed tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to go to bed now. So I will see you all